All right, now we're going to go to learning objective 2, which are our 3 approaches to valuation, the heart of the matter, if you will. The first 2 methods, free cash flow and dividend discount model, rely on different aspects of discounted cash flows. And so we'll be using those for the first 2. The third is a simple one in terms of computation, and it's the multiples method. And this is used for either a quick estimate or as a reasonableness test at the conclusion of a much more complex analysis. So you probably remember free cash flows and WACC. So free cash flow is the cash flow available for distribution to all of its company investors. And so those could be debt holders or equity holders. And it's generated from the company operations, but also has to subtract the non-operating assets and liabilities. The weighted average cost of capital is the overall rate of return required to satisfy both the debt and equity holders. So we'll use that quite a bit in this section. So the cash flow model has this kind of simplified version, and this is the top box we saw in that flowchart just a moment ago, where we take each cash flow from T1 all the way out to infinity and divide it by 1 plus WACC to the power of the years, and we add all those together. And that's what this sigma means. It's just summing from time 1 to time infinity all the future cash flows. Next, we need to, as mentioned, subtract from the value of operations the non-operating items, which are assets and liabilities. Furthermore, we must exclude the value of preferred shares, because what we really want to derive is what is the value of the common shares, and specifically what is the price per share. And for our first example, we're going to use a simplified version of this free cash flow above in this very unique example of one cash flow and one future growth rate, where there's constant growth for T1 all the way out to infinity. It greatly simplifies this process here to this result right here. Free cash flow for year 1, T1, divided by weighted average cost of capital minus the growth rate, the long run growth rate, and that gets us the value of the value estimate at the time 0. So we use that right now as just to show the basic methodology of FCF. All right, so this is another depiction, graphical, of what's going on with the assets. The darker blue are value of operations. The lighter blue, we add to it the marketable securities and other non-operating ownership interests. And then on the right side, we have where did the capital come from? Equity, which is common equity in this lighter color. Darker is preferred stock, and this piece of the pie right here is debt. So we need to take value of operations, add to it this sliver, which is non-operating assets. Then we have to subtract debt and preferred stock to get to what our goal is, which is this common equity section.